Hello and welcome to this video where I basically want to draw a facade and simply discuss various construction techniques again. 2001. This video will certainly be divided into several parts. That means I will always be around the approximately trying to create a video in 20 minutes, and depending on how much is constructed, it will simply become several parts in this case. In the first step, I create a new project as usual. I assign a project number to the project. In this case, it would be 23 for today's date. It is my project number. It belongs to my projects for 2023 and is a facade. Of course, not only a facade will be drawn here, I also want to model additional things. So in the first step, I would like to create a new construction where I do not want to position anything yet in this case. This will be my overall model where everything is summarized. So basically, the first thing I want to do here is to right-click to create a new assembly for my on-site parts, which is essentially a structural assembly. I already have a model in the clipboard here where I actually want to draw in this model right now. Basically what you see now is this from the back. That means I will also rotate this facade or this assembly by 180 degrees again, so that it will be easier for me in the future, as this will be my main front view. Basically, what do I want to do? I want to construct a facade here. I would also like to add brackets, connections, and connections here. In the next steps, I also want to add a staircase here, and then clad the wall with sheets and simply discuss these construction techniques a bit. So in the first step, I have my assembly. Here where I have the on-site parts. This can come from an EFC model or be self-modeled. In this case, I am modeling it myself, and I want to continue working from this point. I like to rotate the model in this case with the D mouse. This means I can then rotate it relatively easily here, so that you can see which mouse I have here. You can view it in this menu. That means I have this here, and I can also basically define this mouse with various commands, essentially. This means, in this case, I have, for example, a menu here where I have certain commands or a menu with the views. That means as soon as I simply hover over it with the mouse, like in 2001, the command for the sectional view appears, for example, started, or for measuring a point, which means I just need to hover over it and, for example, here is the point, the command is already started. This can be defined very easily here. I also have other commands on the mouse where I can, for example, set dimensions directly. So this would be, in this case, for the D space mouse. So in the first step, I want to create a facade here. In principle, I would like to do this in combination with Logikal. And there are two ways here. Either I already have a facade, let's say calculated in Logikal, and I just want to insert it, or I can do this with individual profiles. But now I want to take this step where I draw a sketch into this window or this opening. And with this sketch, I would like to define my facade using Logikal. That means the first step, I create a sketch where I place it on this plane, 1000. And in this case, I can select my edges with offset, for example, 2001. To define my boundary, I will simply set this 100 millimeters from the outside. And so I already have my first one here, my first edges. What I will do here is trim the corners. Of course, that means this will simply be my outer grid. Then I would also like to have an edge or a bar here at this height and once at this height. These are my fixed bars where I will also place this right here. Trim to the corners or to the edges. And then in this case, I can simply create my grid division. That means I can go here and, for example, I simply enter 1000 mm from the left and right, once here and once here. I can, of course, change this at any time afterwards. That means I can also say, for example, I want 800 here and for whatever reason 950 here. I can also change this even when the facade is already in place. That means I add another bar from below to an M. I will do the same here as well. That means I want to go up an M from this edge. And here we go, 800 meter down from the top. So now I have my first area essentially finished, where I have this. I would like to resolve this condition here, as I actually want to stay on the lower edge here. And you can see here, for example, this edge, where the distance was the same. That means I go back here once more, as it concerns these conditions. In this case, I will delete them again. And now it should work that I pull this edge down and the upper edge. I have to ensure that the edges are also closed. When I create it once with this command, the sketch automatically gets this alignment and will be carried along in the future. That means once I do it, if I had done the sketch correctly the first time, this wouldn't have happened. So my sketch is now finished. In this case, I can check here again. That means the bars are positioned here. They are positioned at this spot. And at the top, in this case, I have 100 mm of space. And on the left and right, I also have some space, which I could also change later. So the next step is to just generate this facade here. This means I select the command with the sketch and need to confirm this sketch in this case. Here I can decide whether the sketch should be deleted or not. In this case, I want to delete it deliberately, because I can always modify it later. So now I am asked if I want to create a new project in Helm-Helles in Logikal, which I do in this case. And now the interface to Logikal is being loaded. Here I can define my folder and I want to enter a project name, Entrance Facade Family, Huber. So of course here I am inside Logikal and I enter my conditions here. In this case, I do not want to perform a static calculation. Here I can already set my specifications, which means I want to stay with Schuko here. I can also define certain surface colors, which I will do right away. Glass specifications for 2001, I don't care about that now, which means I still specify which series, then I don't need to select anything else. Thus, I have now created my element or my facade or my project in Logikal, and now my position is already being created. You can see here the connections. Everything is set up. I am in the exterior view, and now I am just going through as usual. That means I go into my element editing here and assign my connection types. So now it was actually the case that I had a standard preset here. I still want to edit the posts and rules here. That means I want to go to an ER post here. That means, of course, I have the complete selection of a rule and post here. So I definitely choose the post that I need. So here we have, as you can see, the corresponding insulator. That means since I simply chose the wrong insulator here. I just go back and select the other pressure profile and the corresponding cover shell. The same applies to the rules. I go to the same rule here and choose my combination once again for my profile combination. So, in this case, I have entered my values here and continue from here. They say here, that is, I have selected a post here that is only available in 4 meters. That means I will not do a post division now, but will go back here and, of course, select the correct posts that are also available in 6 meters. I just didn't look closely enough. So, 6M, let's just take this one just a bit. So, at this point in the process, I can naturally and seamlessly proceed to define and describe my glazing in detail. That means in the first step, I simply go ahead and select my glass. Select my glass thickness. Easily and simply apply. Here in the middle. However, I want to have a panel. Specify a color for the logical. And in this case, I have defined the items. So now I am done in logical. Now I will be asked how I want my detail levels and which name I want to carry over from logical. So I want to import the project name plus the position and all the edits. That means it will now be imported from logical. And now you can see I have brought my facade into Logic A into HiCAD. This facade is, of course, combined with logical, which means I can continue to edit it at all points. In the first step, I want to create a new structural assembly for the facade, where all my facade parts are included, because I will need this for my detailed drawings and further evaluations. So, I will save the construction for now, and then we will move on to the next steps. In the next step, I want to define a post insertion that I simply forgot to enter during the initial setup. I didn't really forget it, but I want to show how to do it. In this case, I want to define a post insertion that I didn't enter during the first setup. I have the option to set it to 127 meters. The dimension is so small because I left the main scale at 1:1 when creating the construction. I will increase it now because it makes working easier. I definitely want to define the insertion at the bottom again, and I will leave the top flush. There are 2 ways to do this. I will show one way by changing it through logical. So, I go into logical. Here is my project, my facade, and I want to edit this position. I change it by double-clicking or by double-clicking to enter the position. And in this case, I can change the profile insertions for all. I want to change the bottom, the ground for the inner profiles to 18. So we had 120, 127, which means I will set it to 75 meters approximately. I still have 25.5 centimeters of space at the bottom. I give the position here, which means you can also argue that someone who is more familiar with the facade would know this stuff better. Imagine, as a designer, I might not be very familiar with the facade, but want to define the size. I tell a colleague who knows certain things better, and it could be that he then selects different profiles or connections. This case has now happened, meaning the colleague has changed things, comes back to me and says, yes, I have changed something on the facade because I need a post insertion. And then I can also say, for example, fetch the changes from Logikal, which means I have to specify the point. That remains fixed in this case. I simply say the upper point remains fixed because it is pulled downwards. And now the facade is simply updated and the current data from Logikal is taken. So you can see now the facade has been updated, and now I also have my post insertion, which was taken from Logikal. Now I still want to show, for example, how I can also change the size. The division doesn't fit. I want something else. To do this, I go to the top position of the Logikal facade and can double click on Edit Sketch to return to the sketch menu. For example, I can say here that I don't want 800, but for whatever reason 1200, because I simply want it to be larger. Or let's make the distance not 800 but 600. So this means it has been changed here. The grid is different. In this case, I simply say apply sketch. Now you can see the grid has been modified in Logikal. I can also add here that I simply just want to have an insert. That means I simply want to add a window here. We will do that here. Select the series. Of course, enter all the options, then choose which adapter I want, the air gap, and also specify my sash. Of course, I also need to define the fittings, but I won't do much here, because, for example, someone who is more familiar with it can handle that. You can see the edits afterwards. So now I have entered my window. I proceed because I still need to define a glass. I am using the same glass here again. Of course, I can also use the other glass thickness here. So, I did that wrong. I should of course say apply and want to finalize the position here. So, you can see here, now I have this facade with the window inside, and also the change of the grid. Thus, I can create and modify this very, very easily. Of course, You can also very easily change the edge distance of the posts from the wall and thus create things very easily. It is important that this always has to go through Logikal, and here it would obviously be a mistake if I were to use the standard HiCAD functions, because when I work in combination with Logikal, it is very important that Logikal also checks the maximum lengths to ensure that I do not create anything incorrect. So I am now around the 20-minute mark, which means this would be the first part of the video, and in the next parts I will cover how I position my facade, make my detailed connections, and we will definitely insert consoles, explore various ways to create consoles, and simply continue building the facade. As mentioned, we will also add the sheets and the sheet metal facade, and of course the staircase, and then connect it as well.